Welcome to ZekeTalk. My name's Jim Tudor of ZekeFilm.org, and tonight we're going to be discussing a favorite topic of many people, Planet of the Apes. With me is Michael Anderson.
That's right. I'm Michael Anderson, a filmmaker and Planet of the Apes aficionado, as it were. And with me is another Planet of the Apes aficionado, Jeffrey Knight. Say hello, Jeffrey.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Oh,
that never gets old.
That really doesn't. No, that's bringing the A material tonight. So, Jeff,
Yeah.
tell us: is it you? Do you want to be Jeffrey or Jeff? I don't know. I always called you Jeff. I don't know. What do you like?
Jeff is just fine.
Jeff is just fine, because it does say Jeff on my Google thing down here.
Yes. Well, it says Zeke for when you come up. So
it does say Zeke. Yeah, no, that's not my name. But some people think it is at this point. Has nothing to do with anything. Well, yeah, no. Let us know your association here. You're with Mike, and if you don't mind.
Okay, no, Jeff and I have been pals since we first met up in Kirksville, Missouri.
Yeah,
Yes.
Going way back. Well,
Yes.
not that far back.
What were you doing in Kirksville?
Well, we were
As
going to
little as
college
possible.
and being miserable.
Students.
Yes, students. Yes.
From my
until
freshman
we-
year.
Yeah, freshman year and sophomore year, and then we decided we'd had enough of Kirksville, and we moved to the greener pastures of St. Louis, and became film majors to be rich and successful.
Yes, that's
Which, as we all know, we have all become
That's right. It's
immensely.
been working out pretty good so far.
That's right.
I laugh, but inside I cry.
It's a film degree that allows us to do this scintillating commentary that you are all watching now.
Well, yeah, and then we're all friends from Webster University back in the 1990s,
Yes.
and took some classes together.
Yes,
Did some projects.
it appeared in each other's films.
Yep. So that's always a good time.
Yes, we have blackmail material on each other for years and years and years.
Which is how
Not
I
really, because it's all on VHS and nobody can watch that anymore.
No, I digitized it at all.
got it's all in 3/4-inch tape,
That's right.
reel to reel. No, I did not digitize mine, so I guess you guys are off the hook.
Uh-huh.
When I lured you here to do this show tonight, it was a ruse.
I have a video right here. All right, let's take a look.
Oh no! So, anyhow, tonight is Planet of the Apes. The reason we're talking about Planet of the Apes is because of the new War for the Planet of the Apes is opening in theaters tomorrow, Friday, which means
right.
it's probably, as usual, we're recording Thursday evening. That means people are probably seeing the movie even now, because new movies run Thursday night.
Thursday night, yes. And, the Planet of the Apes series has surprising longevity for a series that literally blows up the planet Earth in episode 2.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's quickly, for anybody who may not be a Planet of the Apes aficionado like you, Mike, let's let everyone know how many Planet of the Apes movies there are, what the history of this franchise has been, that got us to where we are now.
Okay, Planet of the Apes was originally a series of 5 films, and growing up as we did in the 70s and 80s, I only saw them on like our local independent station. Every now and then there'd be a Planet of the Apes movie, and it'd be cool. And before the Internet Movie Database or any sort of information, I had no idea which order went in which order. And really, it doesn't really matter. I always thought, the Battle for the Planet of the Apes must be the last one, but no, it's actually the second one. But no, the original Planet of the Apes, of course, is the classic. It's the one that everyone knows. It has Charlton Heston going up to the future, or apes evolved from man. And that's a
spoiler.
It's a mad. Oh, come on, that's like 10 minutes into the movie. Crash lands. and it's a Planet of Apes, and just the incongruity. It's like being chased by all these apes. That just made it classic in and of itself. But actually, the first Planet of the Apes is a genuinely good movie. It was directed by Franklin Schaffner, who later went on to do Patton. And it was written by Rod Serling. So it has an extremely good pedigree, and every scene, it's one of these. It's like The Godfather, where even if you haven't seen it, you've seen the movie. Every scene, it's like, oh yes, I've seen this referenced in The Simpsons or some other, the Carol Burnett Show or Saturday Night Live. It's all there, and it's just a matter of putting all the pieces together. And at the end, the classic, it's the Statue of Liberty. Oh, that was really Earth all along.
Yeah, which they've spoiled. So many of the VHS and DVD releases over the years from 20th Century Fox have put the Statue of Liberty right on the cover.
Yeah, I know.
I think terribly unfortunate.
It's
a great reveal, a fantastic reveal.
It is a fantastic reveal, but at this point, it's been revealed years and years and years before you actually see the movie.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
What do you think of the Planet of the Apes, the original movie, Jeff?
It is. No, Mike is exactly right about that. It's a classic. It's a genuinely thought-provoking science fiction film. It's got political political aspects to it. It's a satire of it uses the apes planet and the ape society as a satire for looking at modern American politics and stuff. It's a really well done piece of work.
And I would agree with that, but I would say that continues into the sequels. The metaphor.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Varying degrees of success, but yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I was going to say, the second one is famous that they tried to get Charlton Heston to return, and he was like Harrison Ford. I'll only do it if you kill me off. So they said, we'll do one better. We'll blow up the entire world.
Yeah, no one's going to want to see any more Planet of the Apes movies after that.
That's right. In retrospect, perhaps a bit short-sighted because
a bit.
But Beneath the Planet of the Apes, in many ways, is a lesser film because the first half is basically a retread. They get someone else, another astronaut who comes forward, and the first half is literally a rehash of the first movie. As we have another astronaut who finds himself on a planet ruled by apes, and
but he's looking for the first guy.
Yeah, he's looking for the first guy, even though that makes no sense. Because
which
he
could have been really cool in a kind of an Apocalypse Now, Colonel Kurtz kind of way, but
you were saying that.
Work out like that.
Hold on to that thought, by the way. Apocalypse Now is a big part of War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, cool. They finally did it. They finally
Those maniacs.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah. So Battle for the Planet of the Apes really doesn't come alive until Charlton Heston shows up at the end, and we go beneath the Planet of the Apes finally and discover all the freaky mutants who worship the atom bomb.
And this is about 10 minutes before the movie ends.
Yeah, but it's a great 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got an atom bomb down there. They kind of stand around it. They're having a liturgical worship service where they're worshiping the bomb.
Yep.
And what were those mutants called? Does anyone remember? Because I don't.
I thought they were just called mutants.
Yeah, just mutants.
Okay.
If anyone knows any differently, please write us and tell us how stupid we are. But,
well, again, this could all be checked, and we just haven't bothered. The new film, War for the Planet of the Apes, is nudging its way into the original film series chronology. These are basically prequels / reboots. In some ways, it makes sense as reboots and prequels. In other ways, it's just them doing their own new thing.
Yeah.
Which is fine. The stories are good. But there's this alpha and omega symbol that appears in Woody Harrelson's compound, quite often. And I was trying to remember if maybe the mutants had the alpha and omega symbol or something. It was ringing a bell, but I might be making it up.
No, you're not making up. The atom bomb that they worship has the alpha and omega on it. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
We now worship our God, the atom bomb.
Yeah.
We worship our God.
Right. I know.
And what's great about it is it's this awful atonal music by Leonard Rosenman, who later went on to do the scores for RoboCop 2, Lord of the Rings, and Star Trek 4. But, it's this clangy, very dissident stuff. I mean, the first Planet of the Apes movie had an Oscar-nominated, possibly even Oscar-winning score by Jerry Goldsmith that really set the tone for the series. And it was Leonard Roseman. He tried to follow it up. He sort of did it, but yeah, not quite.
No, the Jerry Goldsmith score from the original Planet of the Apes is just magnificent work.
Yes.
And yeah, it's hard to touch that. In fact, so much of what Jerry Goldsmith did was magnificent.
Yes.
But that score was full of like experimentation.
Yeah, it was very non-traditional.
Yeah, and it's just so evocative and memorable. And then I don't know who did. Was it Roseman who did the scores for the others as well, or just the?
He did it for number 2, definitely, because I remember listening to that, and he has such a distinctive composition style. If you watch RoboCop 2, if you watch Star Trek 4, if you watch Lord of the Rings, you can immediately tell. I know who did this. Because they all kind of sound alike, and I kind of like his style in some ways, but in other ways, it's just coming off of Jerry Goldsmith. It just, especially when he got into the awful atonal liturgical music at the end for the mutants. It was like, that's just a little over the top. And but everyone thought at the end of Beneath the Planet of the Apes that this would be the end, but then they saw the box office receipts.
Yeah.
In many ways, I think it might have been a good thing that they wrote themselves into a corner, because Beneath the Planet of the Apes proved that there isn't much more you can do with the post-apocalyptic Planet of the Apes. They did another one of the series set after the first one, and it was basically a rehash. And there's not a lot you can do more with it. So
no, I don't know. There's no shortage of people who'd be willing to travel to the Planet of the Apes to look for the last guy who went. They could have just kept doing that,
Yeah.
It'd be like Friday the 13th or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you want? It works. We're just the same thing.
Right.
A new group shows up. They get killed.
Yeah,
Hey, did you hear about the last guy who came to the Planet of the Apes? No, we should go look for him.
Yeah, where'd that guy go?
Yeah. So yeah, but they had to rethink it, and they came up with Escape from the Planet of the Apes, in which some of the apes, right before the Earth gets blown up, they go back in time.
Very conveniently placed time machine.
That's right. Yeah, but just it's very convenient. It's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, but they're able to. I mean, literally, they describe, just as we were blasting off, we saw the Earth just completely blow up. So, it was lucky they got off when they did. And again, Escape from Planet of the Apes really ups the sort of satire, because now it's an inverse of the first movie. It's the 3 apes, caught in the world of the humans. So that was clever in itself. To a certain degree. It's basically the flip side of the first movie, and it isn't until the next movie that I think Planet of the Apes hits its second peak.
Oh yes. Yes.
Which is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and it's awesome.
The fourth one.
Yeah, the fourth one, because you know, the backstory of the first Planet of the Apes, they tell us, well, there was this ape uprising. You know, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes actually tells the story of the ape uprising. And Caesar, you know, Roddy McDowall, we have to say, you know, he's done all the ape movies except Battle for the Planet of the Apes. He didn't come back for that. They recast him for that particular movie, but the rest of them, you know, he's a constant playing the main ape character, and he plays Caesar, who is the revolutionary who leads a revolt. And again, the satiric elements are toned way up for this one, and you know, I mean, you see it as, you know, a metaphor for the African American situation with the riots that were going on at the time.
Yeah,
and yeah, they mentioned in the documentary that you know there were screenings where, you know, people were cheering at the apes, you know, just completely demolishing society at the end. You know, it was so cool.
Siding with the apes, down with the man. You know, fighting back. What year was this film at this point? We were in the
72, 73.
Yeah,
okay.
Early 70s, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one that there is the recut version that was made available at some point. Did you guys get to see when you did your Apes marathon together?
The recut happened before the movie was released. So
they tackled a more studio friendly ending.
Yes.
To it.
And it's not that big of a recut, you know. It's just you know, basically the movie ends with the big ape uprising, and Caesar the ape gives a big speech about how, you know, we're going to take over, you know, and we will make it
down, burn it all up.
Yeah, tear it all down. You know, and you know, it was great, but you know, a lot of people were scared about that because, you know, the message it was sending, let's tear down society and rebuild it. Yeah, you know, we kind of like society, so they added the little bit at the end where it's like, well, yes, we want to tear down, but we must also show compassion and we must work together, you know, and so. If you look there, the DVD box set has a documentary behind the Planet of the Apes, which has the original speech and the revised speech, which is a lot more conciliatory and let's all work together, and, you know, we can work this all out.
And very clearly added in post, as opposed to shot on the set.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden you get lots of close-ups of his eyes.
Exactly. Reaction shots from other apes and other humans, but nothing of him actually saying any of these, you know, nice, you know, conciliatory words.
Yes.
Right. Well, with the prosthetics, ape masks being what they are, you know, that gave the sound people some latitude to drop in whatever words that they might need to.
Yep.
But, you know, I caught up with these movies only 3 years ago when Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was released to theaters, and they released the like an El Cheapo DVD box set, or Blu-ray set is a Blu-ray. I've got these on Blu-ray of all 5 original Planet of the Apes movies, and I believe for Conquest, it has the intended version with the inflammatory rhetoric at the end rather than the let's all get along recut version.
It's about time.
Yeah, that's what the version I saw was like the holy cow. This was a movie that kids were going to go see on Saturday.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. It's like, it's kind of unthinkable.
That's great. No, I loved it. You know, you know, again, you know, so much of the Planet of the Apes, you know, was, you know, the fandom was geared towards kids. You know, that you know, this is one of the first things that you know, they would do re-releases of the movies, and you know, there was a big campaign. It's like 20th Century Fox wants you to go ape. You know, and they get the kids to take their parents to go see all the Planet of the Apes movies, you know, re-released in the theaters.
Yeah,
you know. Back before they had videotape and DVDs and Blu-rays and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just, when I say this is unthinkable, I don't mean that the inflammatory version of Conquest is a bad thing. I thought it was really, really pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
it would never happen today.
Right.
In years.
Yeah, the fact that this was a major studio making what they thought to be a kid-friendly franchise,
Mm-hmm.
and that it turns up to be a militant, down with the man screed.
Yeah.
That is kind of fantastic.
It is, yes, and that's the thing, is that the people who were in charge of it, well, possibly not. The last movie is a lot more kid friendly. I think they sort of caught a lot of flack from the Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, so they really toned things down in the last movie, which is Battle for the Planet of the Apes. That's also the one that has Paul Williams as one of the apes, leading to one of his more famous Tonight Show appearances. If you can look that up on YouTube. But yes, Paul Williams, the singer-songwriter, appears in Battle for the Planet of the Apes and sings a song on the Tonight Show in full ape costume. Only in the 70s.
Wow.
As I was saying, that the people in charge of it, even though it was sort of kid friendly, I mean, all the movies, I think even Conquest was rated G.
Yeah.
But this is back when the ratings were a little different than they are now. That they didn't really, they weren't really aimed at kids. I mean, kids loved them because they had talking apes. And kids love talking apes, Gorilla Grodd, any number of, super intelligent apes, Mr. Smith, the Congressman ape, if anyone remembers that.
Apes on horses with guns.
Apes on horses with guns.
They know more.
Kids love it. It's not surprising that kids went for it, but no, I think the people who made them, they were aiming them at an adult audience, and or at least a family audience, and that was great. That's what made them so well worth revisiting.
Yeah, and of course, by the time we get to Battle of the Planet of the Apes, and this is the one that begins with John Huston as the keeper of the law, or whatever that character is.
Yes,
he's obviously shot his portion of the film in like an afternoon. He's walking through a swamp in full ape attire, talking about, here's a brief recap of all the, he doesn't say that, but that's what it is. And that gets us to now, the battle for the Planet of the Apes, and the movie starts, and that's it for John Huston.
Yeah.
And then we do have Paul Williams, which of course Paul Williams always welcome. I'm with you on that. I think it's always great to see him, and of course Baby Driver. He gets his fantastic little cameo in that movie. Yeah.
I was going to say, I kept expecting him, to have a cameo in the War for the Planet of the Apes, but no, Paul Williams, he zags when you think he's going to zig.
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, that one, the production value on Battle for the Planet of the Apes had sloped. It wasn't like now where, when a studio has a franchise and they know that there's a built-in audience, they will throw more into it every time, and the sequels get bigger and bigger these days. Back then, the sequels seemed to get smaller and smaller.
Yes, this is very true, that they figure each sequel is not going to make as much money as the last one.
They were generally right.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that changed at some point.
Yeah.
But not from Planet of the Apes.
Not from Planet of the Apes. No, Planet of the Apes, they just, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, it's like they got nothing left. They're the big set pieces, they have a school bus.
Well, I had read that Conquest actually had the lowest budget of the original 5 films, but they did a lot with what little they had with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. I mean, the ape makeup is really dodgy. Um, except for Roddy McDowell's character. I mean, even watching it,
Jeff?
Oh,
I guess we lost him for a minute
we
there.
lost him, yeah.
He's frozen.
Boy.
Yeah, Roddy McDowell. We'll hold that thought, but I do agree. Are you back?
Yeah,
yeah, I'm back.
Okay. You were talking about Roddy McDowell.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that his makeup was obviously very well done. He got the lion's share of the close-ups and all the acting and all that, but like I said, the makeup on the rest of the apes, the extras and whatnot were, even on my little phone screen you could tell it was pretty rough. I can't imagine what it looked like on a projected on a big screen there.
Yeah, some of them they said they were just rubber masks without articulated faces,
Right,
and
right.
just riding around in the background. Yeah, only those choice actors get the works.
Yeah.
Right.
But Roddy McDowell, he was a very prestigious actor. He was a child actor from the early 1940s in How Green Was My Valley, and kind of grew up on screen, and then he's a well-spoken guy, an intellectual.
Yes, but I think he sort of like with most actors, he reaches a point where he's
Actor's gonna work.
He's not going to be the greatest British actor. He's no Olivier. He's just a solid jobbing actor, and so in the 70s and 80s, he sort of fell into the he's going to be the token British guy in the movies.
Well, there is that hilarious clip that I think it's as an extra on one of the Planet of the Apes discs or something, where somebody is giving a speech at an awards show, and they're introducing Roddy McDowell to come out, and you know what I'm talking about? Where it might be Carol Burnett or somebody. I mean, they're giving this, very earnest, introduction of Roddy McDowell. He's all the things I was saying. He's an intellectual and a man of letters, and such a fantastic actor with a great lineage. And ladies and gentlemen, Roddy McDowell. And he walks out. He's in a tuxedo with the full ape head on it. Comes out and shakes the hand, and it's everyone just laughed their head off.
Of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it hadn't been for, the movie Fright Night, right, Planet of the Apes movie is probably what he would be best known for.
Well, even with Fright Night,
well,
How Green Is My Valley, Planet of the Apes, and lots of guest spots on Murder, She Wrote.
Well, that was everybody back in the day. So.
Well, of course, yes.
Yeah. Lord Love a Duck.
Oh. And the voice of Vincent from The Black Hole. Who can forget that?
Not me, that's for sure.
Yes. But and of course, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. At this point, they've altered the timeline, and it actually has a happy ending because it shows the apes and the humans finally starting to learn to live together.
Yeah.
Which that again that's a good message for kids. Perhaps not as satisfying as let's burn everything down, but.
Well, that's a good point for me to interject something that I love. A little sidebar here. Back when I think Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out, you know how lists rule the internet?
Of course, yes, the listicle.
Somebody made a list of all the Planet of the Apes movies ranked in order of downer endings. And I had just watched my Blu-ray set, so I'd caught up with the sequels for the first time, really. I thought I'd seen some as a kid on like TV, but I hadn't. What I'd seen were episodes of the subsequent Planet of the Apes television series that were edited together and called a movie of the week, and they would run those on television. So I hadn't seen any of the Apes movies, so those all new. The ranked in order of downer ending. That there's a good 4 out of 5 movies vying for the top spot there, with some fierce competition.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the list, by the way. People can look that up online. I don't remember the website, but I thought it was a hilarious thing and quite apt.
Yeah,
Yep.
Beneath ends with, Charlton Heston's character getting shot and the planet blowing up. That's
Yeah.
that pretty much topped the list.
Well, there you could make the argument for the Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the third one,
That's
with
true.
the couple who comes back in time, and the movie. You basically spend the whole movie kind of getting to know, warming up to these this ape couple who, they come back to contemporary America.
Well, it's not
They
just this
fall
movie; it's the
in.
previous two as well. That's Cornelius and Zira. We've
Right.
followed these characters from the very beginning. They were the first ones to befriend, Chuck.
Yeah. And they're quite lovable, and they're peace-loving apes, and they're you really your heart warms up for them, and then they shoot them.
Yeah.
The end. That's a downer ending.
Maybe you're not supposed to be taking each of these 8 movies, individually. It's all one big cycle. So the whole Planet of the Apes cycle, like, a grand opera, ends with the happy ending, at battle.
True.
You can't really, stop the series prior to that point. Otherwise, yeah, you got a pretty sad ending there.
Yep.
I think they had every intention of stopping the series after Beneath the Planet of the Apes when they blew up the Earth, don't you?
Probably. But yes, yeah, you can look at it. It's like a Wagner's The Ring,
Yes.
After Battle for the Planet of the Apes, it circles back on itself.
Which brings us then to the those follow-up media, the television series, which I only saw as a kid. Didn't realize.
I haven't seen the TV series either. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I thought I'd seen them, but I wasn't paying very close attention. But what they would do on local TV here, independent TV, they'd take 2 episodes of the TV series, mash them together, and then run them and call it, Return to Planet of the Apes or something. Mm-hmm. It had a very Planet of the Apes-esque title. So I remember these scenes and these moments, these fragments, really. And that's it. And then there, of course, was the animated cartoon that came on as well, which I've never seen. But again, all this is on DVD for those so inclined.
Yeah, I never saw the TV series. I hear it sort of fell into the fugitive trap, where it's like the 2 main characters travel to a new ape town every week, being chased by the main bad guy ape, and they befriend some people, they help them out, and then they get chased to the next town. So it's the standard fugitive, Incredible Hulk. Yeah, it's not a bad formula, but it's like every other show in the 70s was the same formula.
But I guess it is formula.
That formula holds together better than whatever they were doing with the 5-film cycle. It's like, let's blow up the Earth, and then we'll go back in time, and then we'll have an uprising, and then in the bus.
It holds up better, but it's by no means quite as interesting.
Good point.
Yeah, and the cartoon is really only notable because they were able to, originally the Ape Society was supposed to be a lot more advanced, but they couldn't get the budget for it. And so it wasn't until the cartoon that we got to see things like the ape helicopters or the...
How do they have helicopters? They don't believe things that can fly.
Well, and not in the script that got shot, obviously in the original script. They had flying things, and they had all sorts of advanced technology. And so it wasn't just apes with rifles, it was apes with laser guns and cool stuff. Awesome. And that's what we got in the Planet of the Apes cartoon series, which unfortunately being produced by Filmation was basically a lot of very close-ups.
Right. Half of the screen of your face.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the same elements used over and over again visually.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just how Filmation worked. I've never seen the show. When did that air? Does anyone know the years of that?
Mid-70s.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we had they also with the live action show too, the Planet of the Apes, and then it all burned out. Is it safe to say there was a residual lingering nostalgia for the Planet of the Apes that, for those quiet decades of the
absolutely.
1980s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, like I said, the first one is still, was a classic movie. And, as Mike pointed out before, it was referenced everywhere. I don't know how many episodes went by, where The Simpsons didn't reference, in some form or another. So it was, definitely a movie series that had been, well worn into the, the pop culture zeitgeist.
Absolutely, yeah. They stop the Planet of the Apes. I want to get off.
Exactly.
Yes.
Although
Exactly.
I never saw, the sequels, and I didn't care. For me, it was the first. It was all about the first movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, if you have to watch just one of them, that's the one to watch.
Right.
Yeah, I knew that, and I owned the first movie on DVD. I mean, for probably 15 years before I ever bought the Blu-rays of the others, and didn't care. I just didn't. I had no urge to go back and watch all those until I finally did.
Yeah, they're not good movies.
Okay, so we got that out. Are they good movies? The sequels. Jeff says no.
The first one is legitimately a classic. Conquest is legitimately a good movie.
I think so too.
The other ones are fun movies, but not necessarily what you'd call good movies. You have a good time at them, but
I would say perhaps maybe not Battle. That's a rough one, but yeah, Escape Room is a fun movie, goofy, but fun.
Yeah, I would agree. And then Beneath the Planet of the Apes sticks with me in a bizarre way. I don't, it's not.
Well, it did have mutants.
It's got freaky mutants living underneath abandoned New York and worshiping an atom bomb. That alone is justification for its existence.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe it's a train wreck factor. I don't know, but there's that movie I remember quite well. Like I said, I only saw it the one time a few years ago, and when I saw the new movie and the Alpha and Omega spray painted on things, I thought, oh well, maybe they're setting up Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And I asked some people about it after the movie that know their Planet of the Apes pretty well, and for one thing, they weren't sure if I was right. So, Mike, you know it better than they do. And then they thought, well, why would they bother setting up the worst Planet of the Apes movie, which they thought, Beneath the Planet of the Apes is the worst. But it does need to be established if we're going to consider all that canon. I guess I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think they need to go to the trouble of giving us the backstory of the mutants?
I suppose they do.
Okay, well, this brings us, guys, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we go to now 2001, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yes.
He's remaking the Planet of the Apes, and I don't want to talk about this very long.
He was reimagining Planet of the
Apes.
Apes.
Oh, thank you. Yes. This is a blip on the pop culture radar as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, Tim Burton, for someone who started out so strong and so, so distinct, it's been a shame to just see him, descend into Hollywood hackdom. But this is a big step that took him there. Up till that point, I had said that, even the Tim Burton films that I didn't care for, I always felt that there was something worthwhile in them. This is the first one where I look at and it's like, this is just complete dreck. This is awful.
Yeah,
the makeup effects were good.
I'm sorry?
So the makeup effects were good. If I had to be nice about something, the makeup, Rick Baker's makeup.
No, the makeup is fantastic. Rick Baker doing the makeup effects, and you sort of get the idea that all Tim Burton was interested in was I want to make the apes actually move around like apes.
Yeah.
So
he did.
Someone pointed out you could even think that Rick Baker was the one that was doing the directing, because that's all the camera cares about, is looking at the apes and having them do ape things. And it's fantastic makeup, but it's like it would help if they had a semi-decent plot in there.
Oh, that's just a horrible plot. I mean, the whole thing's a lark.
Yeah.
In the end, it doesn't add up. It makes no sense, and it doesn't care. And poor Rick Baker too, because he's somebody who proclaims the original Planet of the Apes, the makeup work on the first film, and does, as something that's really inspired him to become Rick Baker, to become this brilliant makeup artist. And here he finally gets a chance to play in the pool of Planet of the Apes, and it's that.
Yeah, I mean, the story was just, it turned what was interesting and unique about Planet of the Apes into this generic sci-fi plot that, just sort of remixed elements. And, again, the ending with Abraham Lincoln at the very end, it just makes no sense at all.
It's a twist ending just to have a twist ending. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And I just remembered while you were talking that it is Mark Wahlberg who's the star, right? I couldn't even remember that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Non-presence.
Right.
Charlton Heston has a cameo on his deathbed, giving a monologue about a gun. Of course, get it? He's the NRA. Here's this gun floating here in a bubble. It was just like, oh gosh, everything has to be, a lark. So
yeah,
poor film. Don't bother. Skip that one.
Yeah, but then came Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
No, Rise.
Rise.
Rise Planet. They were down as
yes.
That's my biggest gripe about the new series is I can never remember which ones come in which order.
It is hard to remember. I kind of took a few minutes and forced myself to get it right, because when it's like Rise and Dawn, it's like these are
basically the same title.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing for me for the original series. For years, I'd keep getting Conquest and Battle, mixed up.
Yeah, but Dawn could easily come before the Rise. It's like which is it? But it was Rise. That was the. I'm blanking on the director's name. Is it Rupert Everett? Who made his first movie. That he directed Rise of the Planet of the Apes in 2011 with not Mark Wahlberg, James Franco, in the lead, and it's a very earthbound contemporary story where Caesar is, this company is experimenting with apes and elevating their intelligence and whatnot, and Caesar's the surviving ape from all of that. And I'll tell you what, for my money, that's still the best of the bunch.
It's good.
Really? I still think Planet of the Apes, the original, is the best, but Rise is probably the next best. No,
I'm talking these three, the new trilogy.
Oh, the new trilogy. Okay, yes. No, I would agree with you. Rise of the Planet of the Apes is the best of the new trilogy.
Yeah.
Obviously they took the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes was sort of a remix on the original Planet of the Apes. Didn't work, but this one took Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which is the second best of the original series, and they actually took time to think about it and write a really good script and made a really good movie out of it.
Yes.
Yes, and it's there's not a false move in that movie, directorially speaking. It just like the camera. It's a very active film, even though when I describe it as a kind of housebound and whatnot, it doesn't sound that exciting. But there's some fantastic visuals in that movie, and everything's motivated. It all makes sense. And then it's only at the very, very end, like even during the credits, do we really get into start looking at the future of the series and the Planet of the Apes as we know it, which is the old series. It starts to kind of really look at that. They mentioned that the rocket with Charlton Heston in it is taken off, and that then there's this virus that is released that has this horrible effect on humanity. And then, yeah, it's. I've seen the movie several times. It really, I think it really works. And Dawn, I've only seen once. That's the middle one.
All right, the one with Gary Oldman.
Yes. Does anybody want to say anything else about Rise? Because
Rise, just Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Really smart script, really well directed. You know, it's just a great little film.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the remake we didn't know we wanted until we got it.
Yeah.
The reimagining that is actually a reimagining.
Exactly. And done
Rupert Wyatt. Is it Rupert Wyatt?
Rupert Wyatt is correct.
That's the director? Okay. Yeah, and he made another movie with Mark Wahlberg, ironically. After this one, he bailed on the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or they cut him loose or something. He was going to do it, and then he didn't. And it went to Matt Reeves, who directed Cloverfield and Let Me In. Good filmmaker. And his Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is 2014. It's a dark and slower and brooding movie. It is a lot of stuff in the woods, as I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, just very serious. Like it's all, to me, it felt like the Christopher Nolan effect. Like we're going to be very serious about this movie, and we can't have any fun because this is dark and brooding and serious. I mean, it really felt that way. And again, that was my reaction to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, having not yet seen all the Planet of the Apes original sequels, so I didn't realize that there was this lineage of that. I didn't love Dawn, even though it's technically quite well done and quite, and it is a thought-provoking film.
I agree. I think Dawn is too self-serious, and it's well made, but even the original Planet of the Apes movies, at their darkest, they had moments of levity and moments of just sheer, what the hell was that? These bizarre little turns to it, and that's what made them interesting. That's
no room for that.
That's what makes them worth revisiting. And when you sort of get into this brooding, this is all very serious.
Well,
it works on a certain level, but at the same time, you're losing what makes the ape series unique.
Right. And you're still making a movie. At the end of the day, you're making a movie about talking apes.
Exactly.
You got to lean into that.
Right. And no, there's it's this just unblinking heavy seriousness about it all. And I'm sorry.
I would say that's probably a general trending problem amongst blockbusters in general. We're going to take this subject matter that's on face value, a little silly, maybe even juvenile, and we're going to, serious the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, with all the Zack Snyder.
Yeah, the Batman v Superman effect.
Right.
Where they said they're not even allowed to joke on set when the camera's not rolling, apparently. It's that serious. But,
that's right. Zack Snyder, who took a movie about schoolgirls fighting big mecha and somehow made it a downer and really depressing to watch.
Yeah, the sucker punch. You're right. No, good point. And this is, Jeff, when you say that, you make that observation that this is the trend of blockbusters. And, again, I kind of personally chalk it up to Christopher Nolan, but maybe there is an argument that we could take it back to the Planet of the Apes sequels. I don't know. But for contemporary purposes, we'll blame Chris Nolan, who, on his own, I think can be great.
Yes,
but
I wouldn't.
But the Nolan effect.
I wouldn't necessarily blame Chris Nolan in a vacuum. It's Chris Nolan plus the $2 billion that Dark Knight made.
Yeah, this is what people want.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's not the blockbuster we wanted, but it's the blockbuster that we needed.
Yeah. Well,
Like that.
I don't feel so badly now because I did write a review of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and I haven't gone back and read it. It's not on Zeke Film yet. I will put it there at some point. It's not there yet. I should put it there this weekend. I reviewed both Rise and Dawn for what was then Twitch Films, now Screen Anarchy. So you could go over there and find them. That's screenanarchy.com. My reviews, and I feel like my take on Dawn, I was criticizing this exact thing, and ramping up to War for the Planet of the Apes, I was like, you know what? I feel a little embarrassed about my review of Dawn now because now I've seen the original Planet of the Apes, and I know that there is a heritage of serious, dark, thematic ape movies. And while the point remains that blockbusters are getting too dark and serious, maybe we're taking them too seriously. It's juvenile material pushed and shoehorned into this level of seriousness that you're talking about. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree to make that point with Dawn, but you guys have reassured me that maybe that's not the case.
Yes, you're not alone.
So, would any other observations about Dawn? I mean, I do think it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just it's one of those that you watch it and it's like, oh, that was good. I don't really have much more to say about that.
Yeah, it is kind of curiously dotting every I and crossing every T, isn't it?
Yes, but that brings us up to the newest one.
Yeah,
the War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, which again only I have had a chance to go see because it screened for critics. I will be writing a review of that. It is partially written, and that'll be up soon. And War for the Planet of the Apes, also directed by Matt Reeves, and who did, as we mentioned, make Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the dark and serious woods-bound film. Not a bad film. War for the Planet of the Apes is very much in sync with Dawn. It's more of the same.
Oh, okay.
In that regard, yeah.
Well, with the title like War for the Planet of the Apes, you're not going to get a light and cheery Planet of the Apes movie, I don't think.
And another sidebar, I just want to throw this out there because I'm proud of this. This is, when I came out of Dawn, I went on our Zeke Film discussion group on Facebook where people can post their own, conversations about movies should they choose to do that or participate. Everybody is welcome there, by the way. Zeke Film discussion group on Facebook. There were threads back then about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. There was some excitement for that movie. And I came back from it and said, if they make a third one, it should be called War for the Planet of the Apes. Because clearly they're ramping up to war. Yes. Okay, that much was obvious. But it can be called War of the Planet of the Apes. It's too many of those. So, and War for the Planet of the Apes space. But, that's a little, I was like, are they really going to call a movie that? And they did. A year and a half ago or so, whenever they announced it, one of the guys, regular contributors on there, came on and posted the news article. It's like, hey, Jim Tudor nailed it. Look at this. War for the Planet of the Apes is coming to theaters summer of 2017.
Yeah, so what will be the name of the next Apes movie?
I don't know. Are they going to keep going?
Well, I mean, they eventually got to get to the Planet of the Apes, right?
That's right. When are they going to get to the Planet of the Apes?
Time on Earth. They got to get to the Planet of the Apes at some point.
Right. They're going to remake it? I don't know. No spoilers from me on this one, except that there's no war.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like wait a minute. This is a lot of, most of the movie is Caesar and a few others. They break off. Some stuff goes down, and Caesar has to go off by himself. And he's out there in the field on a mission doing something. And, a few little minor skirmishes here and there. Again, very high stakes, very serious. Lots of subtitles. More apes are speaking English now. And the visual effects are fantastic, and there's more apes than ever for the effects artists to render. But eventually, you don't get to the halfway point of the movie, and they come upon Woody Harrelson's compound, and then there's all these long discussions. Woody Harrelson's compound clearly modeled after the Kurtz compound in Apocalypse Now. Making this the second ape-centric film of 2017 to heavily riff on Apocalypse Now. The first, of course, being Kong Skull Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, I was just looking up at the trivia for the War of the Planet of the Apes, and you were indeed correct. The Alpha and Omega in the compound is a reference to the Alpha and Omega bomb from beneath the Planet of the Apes. So,
yes.
They're setting it up.
I not only guessed the title correctly. By the way, when I say I guessed the title correctly, I don't want to brag too much. I did do that, but then I very incorrectly guessed what the film would be. I was guessing that, at the end of the film, Caesar has sons. I thought, okay, well, they're going to go forward into time. We'll have old man Caesar on his deathbed, and it'll be King Lear, but with apes. And then Caesar's sons will go to war against each other. One of them will take
maybe that'll be the next one. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll see. Something like that, maybe.
Yes.
But no, it's this one still. Caesar is not that old. It's not that far removed from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm. See, I think the next one. I mean, they have the war theme here, so I think the next one should be Caesar versus Kramer, and it's Caesar gets a divorce, and the little ape kid, is sort of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, this is a bitter custody battle.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be good. And they could finally bring back James Franco, because everybody's like, well, we just assume he died.
Yeah.
But yeah, so most of the film is in this compound, which has a prison camp, and a lot of people have called it Great Escape from the Planet of the Apes. That's kind of what it turns into. Not much of a war, I gotta say, and a lot of just very dark, quiet. You could call it a slow burn of a movie. I don't know. It is definitely not what you'd think of as a big summer tentpole. Which I'm not going to complain that it doesn't have a whole bunch of crazy kinetic action slammed together in it. It doesn't, but it really doesn't. It's a very staid, quiet movie. It's for something with so much visual effects behind it. Clearly a huge budget. I don't know that it's going to go over. I'm very curious to see how this goes over, and if Fox will go forward making yet another.
Yeah. Well, next one, they're only going to have a school bus. That'll be the one special effect.
Yeah, in this day and age, though, you just can't, you got to go big or go home, right? You can't. I don't know. We'll see if we ever get that final Divergent movie, because the Divergent series, they're trailed off, and to the point where they said we're going to make that final one, but it's going to be made for TV.
Mm-hmm.
And all the actors went, hold on a minute, that wasn't the deal. So who knows if it'll really happen?
Yep.
So that's what happens.
We will see.
We will see. So yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes. If you guys go see that, do let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
I mean, you too, Mike and Jeff, and also anyone watching.
Sorry, you were talking to us?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like you guys are interested in this material. We just did a whole chat about it. So I assume you're going to see it at some point.
At some point, yes. I guess you're right.
Are you going to run right out and see it?
No.
Well, not this very second, but eventually.
Okay. Why do you say no, Jeff? Is it because you are not a fan any longer? You don't care that much, or it's just circumstances are such?
Circumstances are such. I mean, it's definitely going to go on the Netflix queue, probably right to the top of the list when it comes out. I don't get a much opportunity to go out and see films this day and age. So when I do go, it's going to be something kind of special. I think Spider-Man is definitely on my plate. Something I'm going to try to get out to see. And then, when Star Wars rolls around and Thor Ragnarok, basically it's a marvelous Star Wars film. I'll get off my chair and go see it. But otherwise, it's it's pretty much a rental.
Yeah,
Me.
Planet of the Apes just doesn't quite make the cut.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I mean, as much as I've enjoyed the latest series of films, yeah, it's not a, oh, I have to go out and see that right now kind of thing.
Sure.
No Roddy McDowell, and
Well, Andy Serkis, you guys. There's this cult of Andy Serkis. Every time one of these Planet of the Apes movies comes out, there's this vocal contingent online that pipes up about Andy Serkis for Best Actor. He should get an Academy Award. It's like
he's not getting in for an ape.
Yeah. Even an ape with gravitas.
A lot of gravitas.
A lot.
He didn't get for Gollum. He's not going to get it for an ape.
So, Mike,
sad to say, but it's true.
Are you going out to see War for the Planet of the Apes this weekend or ever?
Probably not this weekend, but eventually.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I'm sure some folks will bring it up on Zeke Film Discussion Group. Should anyone be inclined to talk about it online, that's one place you can do it. I will be posting my review of that film as well as my very strange compare-contrast piece of the two new films, A Ghost Story and the artist true life biopic called Maudie. Yeah, I saw these films, one on Monday morning and one on Tuesday morning. And even though you might think these have nothing to do with each other, it started occurring to me that there are connections. So I'm writing about that in a spoiler-filled piece for ZekeFilm.org. And then in the meantime, there will be just a straight-up review of A Ghost Story by Eric Yates, which won't have spoilers. So I do recommend very much both films, Ghost Story and Maudie, by the way. They're very different, but yet there's thematic similarities. So look for that on the site. Plenty of other things going on too. I hope everybody checks it out regularly because a lot of good material. And in the meantime, I'd like to throw it over to you guys. Jeff, anything else of interest catch your eye lately?
Well, I've been watching the Twin Peaks on Showtime. I feel like I'm the only one in my circle, my immediate circle here in St. Louis, who's been keeping up with it. But it's been a very, very entertaining, interesting journey so far.
How many hours in are you?
I think it's 9 hours.
9, yeah, 9.
Okay, because I know an hour 8 dropped
twice.
I'm sorry?
I said it's 10 if you count episode 8 twice.
And should you?
Yes.
Yes, because you have to watch it twice.
Okay. I have not seen any of these. I know when hour 8 dropped, everybody kind of said this is very, very special, great, amazing, different. Is 9 that way? I haven't heard the chatter about 9.
No, 9 is pretty much 9 is all exposition. It's
kind of thing.
Episode 8 was an art film. Episode 9 is let's give you a plot dump.
Oh, gee. Well, that's a kind of an artistic experiment in and of itself, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much.
David Lynch is like, I want to do the plot dump.
We'll get it out of the way, and we can do more other stuff later.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mike, what do you?
Well, right now my wife and I have been binge watching the Justice League Unlimited old cartoon series, which we are trying to cram in before it goes off Netflix at the end of the month. This is one of these series that we've always been meaning to watch, and we've been sort of slowly, catching an episode here and there on Netflix over the years, and then all of a sudden it's going away at the end of the month, so we have to quickly binge the last 42 episodes and get it in before it. But no, we're having a great time with it. You can see that why many people consider it to be the pinnacle of the DC animated series universe, which began with Batman the Animated Series, continued with Superman, and then reached some say its greatest heights with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. So it's just a lot of fun, a lot of obscure DC stuff goes into it. Every frame. It's like, oh look, it's that one guy. It's Jonah Hex. And it's the Phantom Tank. Just going back in the background. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's Wizard magazine back in the day. It is a comic book, very popular comic book magazine in the 90s and onward. It's canceled now. They nominated. They called Justice League Unlimited the greatest superhero television show, period, of any ever made at the time. And
I think still probably.
Yeah. For me, I've never seen all of it. I've only seen like an episode or two, so I need to catch up with this as well.
That's right.
But for me, Batman the Animated Series is one of the great all-time television series, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman he definitely is up there, but yeah, this is pretty good too. And even the stuff that came after it, Batman Brave and the Bold, I had a lot of fun with. Young Justice, but before they sort of canceled that because it was appealing to girls too much.
Sad.
Yes. And they're doing a Justice League cartoon now. It's Justice League Action, which is, it's fun. It's definitely geared for much younger kids. But and the episodes are only, like 10 minutes each. So it doesn't wear out its welcome. But yeah, it doesn't reach the same thematic depth, I have to say, as Justice League Unlimited. We just finished with the big season 2 ended with like a 5-episode multi-arc that really, it just sort of grabs you and doesn't let go. It's like at the end of every episode, it's like, we have to keep going. We have to keep going. Couldn't imagine what it was like back in the day when you had to wait an entire week for the next episode. But no, so Justice League Unlimited, it's going away from Netflix. Catch it now. I don't know where it's going next. You could probably get it on DVD and Blu-ray and all that sort of stuff, but where it goes next in streaming, I don't know. Yeah. Watch your Hulus and your and your Amazon Primes and
I have the whole thing on DVD just sitting over there waiting for me. The day will come when I'm a catatonic vegetable and I'll just have to be propped up in front of a television and here we go. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I get to watch all those DVDs that, it's nice. I don't have to worry about Netflix.
Mm-hmm. But, we should point out that our friends, the Criterion Collection, are all on sale at Barnes & Noble for this week, next week, and I think till the beginning of August, including their new release of Stalker, which I plan on picking up next Tuesday.
Does that come out on Tuesday?
That drops on Tuesday. Tarkovsky's sci-fi masterpiece, Stalker, in a gorgeous new transfer.
That's a must-buy.
Yes, it is a must.
Yeah, the Barnes & Noble sale is a big temptation all the time for me. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Mike. If any listeners out there want to contribute gift certificates to Barnes & Noble in the next 2 or 3 weeks to Zeke Film for the work we do, we would be most grateful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will just throw that out there. Yes, and in the meantime, hope we have not worn out our welcome. This is, of course, another episode of ZekeTalk, where we come in here every week and sit down and shoot the bull about pop culture. And so if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. You can subscribe here on our YouTube channel. We hope to have the audio versions available. I'm not sure when those are coming, but hopefully you'll be able to subscribe to the audio version as well in the future. So do keep an eye out. And visit ZekeFilm.org for lots of great reviews and other content. Plenty of things going on there. And by the way, if anyone is interested in writing for the site or appearing on the show here, do drop us a line. You can contact us through the site. So again, I think that about covers it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jeff Knight and Mike Anderson.
Yeah, happy trails, everyone.
That's right. Good night.
Good night.